Welcome to Five Stones Podcast. I'm your host, Raymond Modulin, and all the other hosts with me. Welcome. How are you today?
Good morning. I am Colin Hedegaard, the Great Dane.
I am Joe Shrester. I'm still the real estate advocate.
I see we have a new setup today. Trying
Yes.
something different just till we find something we like.
Exactly.
So I thought we'd do something today that is very unique for the three of us insofar as I think we have three opinions.
Yes, that is unusual
Three
for us.
differing opinions
Yeah.
for the three of us even.
I'm technically undecided, but leaning one way a little bit, but that's not really an opinion.
Well, should we start with what we agree with? We enjoy cigars.
Yes, we enjoy cigars, and I am still with the New World cigar that I always
Our
enjoy.
cigar monogamist.
I've made a dramatic change. I am now smoking a La Flor Dominican Natural.
That seems very dramatic.
In the absence of the double Maduro,
Yeah.
I have a couple of naturals, which isn't bad. It's actually good. It's a little different flavor. It's a strong natural.
Well,
I happen to be smoking a New World as well today.
so that we can agree on.
Yes, we enjoy cigars.
So
Now,
normally we're trying to keep this slanted towards the real estate world and stuff that affect the real estate world, but there was been a big decision by
The house.
the House yesterday that I think may bear some discussion about the banning of TikTok.
go get them.
All right. So, who wants to start?
Why don't you go ahead and start? Let's go with Raymond's perspective, and for once, instead of telling everyone how wrong I am, we'll explain why Raymond is wrong.
Well, first of all, that's not going to happen. So let's recap what the House said. The House has now, in essence, banned the app called TikTok.
They have, but they haven't. That's not entirely true.
Here we go.
What they have done is they have passed through the House, and it is into the Senate, which it has not passed yet. They have given TikTok 6 months for China to divest the United States portion of it to a United States company because they have caught China using it to spy on our citizenry. That is what the actual,
So if they don't sell it to an American entity, then it
within
will be,
6 months,
it will eventually be banned from use if this law were to
correct.
get signed.
So, while I agree in this case, my whole issue, and it's not going to be hard to guess on which side that I'm going to be on, is that we are starting to set a precedence of the government now dictating a company needs to sell or it can't be used.
Yeah, when you put it that way, the government should not tell us that we have to sell a business or that we can't.
Now, I agree that if they're using it to spy, it's a bad thing. But my biggest fear is the overarching concept of the government getting involved in now telling me that Real University, because I teach in multiple languages, is a national threat and I have to sell my company to someone else.
I think that is a big step from what they are talking about now. They're not asking a United
Sure.
States sovereign company.
A
to
blind sheep would say that.
That's not a blind sheep statement. I will never say that the federal government should not be able to dictate what foreign-based companies are allowed to set up shop in our country.
So here's the other. There's so many things here. It's a Chinese company.
Yes,
That's like me coming to your house and saying, okay, you're going to stop using your blender. It's not my house, not my rules. How are they going to make another country sell a company even.
As this formulates in my head, I was the undecided one, and I think, what if China invented the cure for cancer? Would we not buy it because it's China?
Well, you brought up another good point, because this is why I said turn the mics on, because he just told me that he's on TikTok. And he's only been on
I am
TikTok.
not personally on TikTok. This podcast is
That we're using this podcast on TikTok, and you just put it on how long ago?
2 months ago.
Okay. Was there conversation about TikTok being banned 2 months ago?
No.
Bullshit.
It was like 2 years ago, not 2 months ago.
Okay. So you decided to go ahead and, at our benefit, use something that you don't agree with.
That's like
Because
saying-
it was a benefit to the
But,
business.
Okay, so the United States decided that you can no longer smoke until you're 21. Did that stop me when I was 18 and it was legal for me at that point to do it? No, I did something that was legal at the time to do. If they tell me it is no longer legal, I will no longer
But
do
you
it.
disagreed with the principle of TikTok,
I disagree with it being
but you
owned.
still used it
For what for my
for a
purpose,
gain,
yes.
for a purpose.
Yes. Yeah,
So
I'm
even
not
though
saying that I
you
won't-
disagreed with the principle, you still saw a profit
Yes.
motive and still used it.
Yep, absolutely.
Can I pose another hypothesis that might make some sense? Because I think that they actually, many in Congress and this administration are very friendly to China. So this is the alternative. Saying we're going to ban it if you don't do something, that's one thing. But if we know they're spying on us, first off, they should divulge that information to the citizenry. But secondly, if somebody else was spying on us, we would sanction them or punish them or go to war with them or do all these other things, which is far worse than saying sell or ban. You see, that's what we should be doing, is taking a harsh stance against them.
I agree with that 100%. But to the government intervention of telling another country they have to sell a company because it now, and I'm going to use the word violate, which is a very broad term, violates the U.S. belief,
Well, I
to
have a hard
me
time-
is the start down the path of the government coming in. And the example I gave you guys earlier off screen, and I'll put it here, is the Patriot Act that was enacted for a specific reason, and which now they use it for other things against the people of the United States.
Well, they do still look for terrorists, but
They
spy
still
on-
use it for
But
that,
they spy on all of us as a justification.
but they use it for other things. And we've all seen movies which are fantasy, but you can't tell me that it's not true, where they tell people, we can arrest you for so many hours and hold you under the Patriot Act without due process of law, without access to any of that. So they bastardized that law that they created 20 years ago. And what I potentially see is this same thing down the road.
The more I think about it, the more I think they just don't have the sack to punish China in the way that they
Well,
should be.
Well, they're not going to when the president's son is getting money from them. You're damn right.
Yeah.
I believe it.
So, you know, I understand 100% your perspective, but that has to do with citizens of the United States. Every country in the world has countries that they will not do business with, or say that they cannot buy things here. Like the Chinese government, they're able to buy land here. I can't go to China and buy land. I can't go to China and open a business. I can't do any of that. So why do I give a rat's red rump whether the United States says, hey, China, either sell it or get it out of our country? I don't. You know, and clearly they've been spying, and they told us they were spying. We talked about this over a year ago when we were doing the radio show. You don't have giant balloons floating over the United States, taking pictures of our missile silos and everything
So
else.
if that's the case, then we need to take Collins' approach
And I agree with that
and
too.
go to war or sanction them completely.
But this also goes back to what we've talked about on the podcast previously, where you don't believe that war is going to be like what we saw in
Well,
World War
it's
One.
not.
This could be the first step towards that. We're going to start hitting them in a pocketbook. We're going after them financially with war.
We're already, I
as opposed to
believe,
this.
an
I think
economic war.
they're at war with us, and we haven't accepted it.
I agree.
This is unconventional warfare, which is a term that probably is lost.
Well, it's an economic type of thing.
Yes.
And of course, the flippant answer is, what are they spying on? Have you seen the people on TikTok? So, I mean, there's that whole point, but
Well, but
we're not even going to get
it's
into
less about spying and more about subterfuge and what they're able to get people to do through that by promoting certain things, not allowing certain things to be promoted, and driving a narrative. I mean, we've seen it in the news. You got kids saying they're going to kill themselves if they don't get to use TikTok because, like, the world's going to come to an end if this.
Well, everybody's
doesn't work.
using their leverage to drive an agenda. I mean, look at MSNBC and
Yes.
any of those. They're not reporting news. They're driving an agenda.
You're right.
It is a propaganda tool that the Chinese
Yeah.
use, and we have already, I think, demonstrated that America gets a different algorithm. So our kids are watching goofballs blow up a Honda Civic for views, and theirs are watching engineers and trophies and
Yeah.
success stories about Chinese kids succeeding, and we're getting it's an unconventional warfare against our kids.
Here's the other part that bothers me is, to me, this almost also seems like a feel-good law for us to look at the government and go, oh, well, they're doing something. Because let's look at the practicality of policing a law.
150 million users in the U.S. for TikTok. How are you going to police that?
What are they going to do?
They're going to hammer Apple and all the companies.
I mean, we all know there's technology through VPNs and private networks that you can make your IP look like you're coming out of Denmark. And there are companies that promote that. If you log on to Netflix in Germany, you get a different set of movies and you can make your IP look like it's over there. So the reality is, even if they do that, there's going to be half of those people that'll probably find a way to make their IP look like they're coming out of France, and will get TikTok anyway.
I think a lot of
Possibly.
laws nowadays are actually meant to just make almost everybody guilty, and then when they need something on you, they have it.
That's exactly what I'm saying. They're putting a law on the book, so down the road when they go, hey, Korea, we don't like your cars anymore, and we're going to force you to sell that company because we think that car that you're making has some sort of national security issue, and we've already got precedent way back in 2024 when we passed this first law against China. That's what I'm afraid of.
I think this is a cop-out, actually. Now, the more I think about it, I think it's a cop-out.
That's a feel good. They're making us feel like we're doing something because they can't police it.
It's election year. They want to be able to go out and stump and say, look, we're hard on China. Look what we did. I voted for this thing because we want to be hard on China. Without being hard on China, because they still want China's money, they just want to make it look like they don't want China's money.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's feel good. And you just told me that you looked at the voting records, and there were, all over the board, there were ultra-conservative members that voted against this. And I would venture to, well, I'm not going to venture, I'm going to flat out say it, I would have voted against this.
I think I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall, because I think the discussion was that we need to do more, but this is the compromise landing point where we can stay friendly. But
Well,
ultimately, I think I'm probably against banning it and forcing a business to do something. But I am for more severe things.
I am against it when it is a United States company. I don't give a crap what we do to a foreign adversary's business. I don't care. And maybe they're an adversary now and they'll be a friend in 20 years, and then you change the policy in 20 years. But right now, I don't care. If it's within our borders, it's important. We should let freedom reign. But
it's not freedom.
But It's not our job to dictate freedom for the rest of the world. It is our job
No.
to dictate freedom for the United States.
But it's our job to ban freedom in the rest of the world?
Just them putting in their algorithm does not make it freedom for us.
That's not my point.
I think what he's saying is it's a scary thought to authorize the government to take action on businesses and private entities. They should wage war, they should put sanctions, they should do the things that they are authorized to do.
Any Republican knows traditionally our view is less government interference. And all they are doing is putting another roadblock in that will be bastardized, it will be misused, it will be wrongly used to justify some action down the road, and this will set the precedence. That is my entire fear. Whether it's our country or another country or any of that. And the analogy that I gave both of you guys, and I'll give it here, as a gun advocate, I understand I don't want a bazooka, but I still should have the right to it. Because the second you start banning a bazooka, then somebody else is going to say, well, what about all large caliber? Well, what about multiple shot large caliber? What about guns with clips in front of the trigger? And it starts down a process because we've already established that, oh yes, we banned bazookas. Now we can just tweak that a little bit to say anything over, 20 millimeters. Okay, now anything over 18 millimeters. That's my problem.
Okay.
It's always been incremental.
Yeah.
And I can see that, and I agree with that. But let me ask you this: what rights does Raymond Mauchline have in China?
None.
Then why would they have any rights here?
Because we have granted the companies that right to work here.
Okay, but now we're going to pull that. Now
Just like Toyota cars.
You're right, and we could tell them tomorrow that, sorry, we no longer grant you that right within our country.
Well, I
There
think
you go. You just proved my point. You just use that against a car company because now Ford goes, oh, there's too many Toyotas. We need to stop that somehow. Oh, wait, we had a bill in 2024 where we can go into Toyota and say you can't sell in the U.S. anymore.
Now, I have another interesting question: is if we pass a law that says China has to do something, what authority? How are we going to make them do it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That was the analogy I gave. I can't go into Joe's house and say you got to get rid of a blender. It's not my house. I can create a law that says no blenders. It doesn't matter. It's Joe's house.
It feels more like a threat. What they really should say is, look, you got 6 months to figure this out, or we're going to go into the next steps.
It feels more like they just want to make people feel good because we know they can't enforce it, and we know that.
Don't you feel like they should be telling us why? I mean, everybody's just up in a tizzy, and everybody's reacting to this, but really, question begs to me, what have they seen in Congress that we need to see as the citizenry?
Well, I think it tells you they know exactly how COVID started. And everything else.
It might be related to that, but certainly China has ill intentions. I mean, they've been doing all kinds of things around the world to grow, to expand their military influence. They're sending, I think we have 20, 30,000 young fighting age men across our border illegally. This is an unconventional warfare, and we need to answer it with some kind of warfare, in my opinion. So this is a cop-out, I think, to placate a little bit. It's really a threat that we can't even do anything about unless we take the next step, which is war, sanctions, this, that. Some unconventional warfare. So this really actually doesn't mean that much in my mind.
It is definitely an economic warfare.
Yes.
But I agree with Colin. I think they are engaged with warfare with us, but we are not with them.
And we're playing patty cake by going after an application on the phone.
It's another way that we are made to pretend that that's not happening. Like we pretend a number of things now.
I would like to mark this episode down and revisit this in 5 years or 10 years and look back and go, see, that's what I was saying. Because that is my biggest fear. And I will go on record as saying I would have voted against this ban.
Congress has really drifted now. It's more like a 5-minute show choir display of crap.
Yeah.
The,
A show choir display of crap.
well, I mean, if they're all looking for a, honestly, they're looking for a short video on Reels or TikTok that they can use
Yes.
for some exposure.
Can you make sure this gets out on TikTok?
Oh, I'll put it back. I'll put it out on TikTok. It's still legal.
You can get 6 months.
I will use it until it is illegal. And when it's illegal, it
I-
is illegal.
I think their terms.
Even though it violates your moral principle.
What more? Using it right now? My moral principle is about using that to determine exactly how my feelings and stances are and everything without looking at anything else. The problem we have is we have a group of citizenry that their entire moral compass, entire ethical compass is based on something they look at for 30 seconds.
So let me
That's
put you on
only
the
way.
spot.
Yeah.
Do you smoke marijuana?
No.
If it were legal tomorrow, would you smoke marijuana?
No, I probably wouldn't because
Why?
I don't have a desire to do it. Not because I have any aspersions towards it. I just don't have that desire.
So would you say it's against your moral principle to do it?
No.
For you?
No, it's not.
It is for me.
For me, it is not because, and here's where I will tell you.
So
why.
even though it would be legal now, you still wouldn't do it?
Correct.
I don't have a problem with it because it is grown directly from the earth and it is processed from there. It's not like other
Do
designer
we need to
drugs.
run out and get you a tree real quick so you can hug it?
No, I'm not talking about tree. Like, what's the difference between that and tobacco in general? They're plants.
One's hallucinogenic.
Okay,
One alters your...
but
Mood.
my point is, well, they all.
Well,
they alter
mood
your
was not
mood,
the right word. It alters your perception of reality.
It absolutely can if it is abused.
Do you know
But
that
so
it's
can alcohol.
considered a class 1 narcotic? Marijuana is. Just read that when I was in the doctor's office the other day.
The point that I'm making is, unlike other drugs where you're having to chemically create something, this is literally harvesting a plant, processing a plant, and smoking a plant. And that's it. And that's why I think there's a difference.
Okay, we're beyond the point. The point I'm
Yes.
getting at is that if someone believes something's immoral, even if it's legal, they wouldn't be doing it. So that's my point with us using TikTok. If we believe it's immoral because China's spying on us and it's still legal, I would think we wouldn't be on it.
I'm not super scared about China spying on me personally. I don't feel like I have anything to hide. However, principally speaking, if they are spying on us and waging unconventional warfare on us, I would like to retaliate.
And we retaliate by placing our opinion on there to maybe disrupt the opinion of those that are trying to corrupt.
We are a gift to the world. And
We
when
are.
I say that, it's access to our market and our citizenry and our purchasing power that is the gift to the world. China needs us far more than we need them. We don't actually have that much debt.
Oh, do you believe that really?
Yeah, I believe that. They need us more than we need them.
How are
'cause
they going to get their technology if they can't steal it from us?
we raised the GDP of the world by 25x. Well, just by the Industrial Revolution. We are a gift to the world, and we have raised the standard of living for the entire planet, just our existence. So they do need us more. Only 2-3 trillion of our debt is held with them. I think it's 2 trillion or 2.5. It isn't a big deal. We occasionally
I got that in my
Oh,
pocket.
that's okay. The Democrats will send that much to the Ukraine in the next 6 months anyway. So
No, but point being, they do need us. We pretend like we need their money. Really, they aren't that big of a deal. Most of our debt's held within the United States. They lend on less than 10% of our debt. I'm pretty confident with that number. So I think they need us. They need access to our market. I think that is maybe a sanction.
So they need access to a market to sell things they make that we don't make. So who needs who more?
Well, we don't need their products. We like their products. We consume them.
That's a whole nother show because I want to do research on that. I'm going to go on record saying I don't think that's true.
Let's look.
I think all the technology, wherever it originated, now comes from Japan and China. Our computers, our laptops, our cars,
They are
our
manufactured. It doesn't
VCRs, our
originate.
TVs, all of that.
I think
Manufacturing and the creation of are two different things.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No,
Well,
they're not.
China
They
steals,
certainly are not.
but they almost exclusively steal technology and replicate it.
Yes. Which is why, there again,
It-
there's a cell phone company that we threw out of the country. Do we want to go
Intellectual
back and let them back in?
intellectual
Who's that?
property
Like
theft.
Plain Hong or something, I don't remember the name of it, but they had a smartphone that we said, no, you can't sell that in the United States.
That's another unconventional warfare. Is they're stealing intellectual property nonstop, and they're infiltrating businesses, stealing technology,
Yes.
and replicating it for a fraction of the cost. When you have slave labor, you can do that. It costs 1/20th.
So then why don't we dictate to them they have to pay more? Because we can't dictate what another country does.
Well, we did dictate that for a while. When we had another president sitting in office, he most assuredly put sanctions, made them pay more money and everything else. We were doing
He
that.
didn't make them pay more money. He may have put sanctions on them because he can't make them pay more money.
Their economy is actually in bad shape. They're having a housing crisis. They're having all kinds of population crisis. And they are going to be a country that will lash out in desperation. So
Well, maybe
they
that's
are
what they're
they
doing
are
now.
a serious enemy of the United States, and we pretend that they are not.
I agree that they are an enemy. I don't know how to say what I'm saying.
Well, we have gotten into a global economy where we can see. I mean, we all have an iPhone, and we have millions of us, tens of millions of us have an iPhone. It's made there. It probably cost $50 to make that for them. Then they sell
Yeah.
it back to us for who knows how much. All that's the mystery, but
But there again, I go back to the point that they manufactured it, they didn't create it. And I'm using it from two different points.
I have no idea what the fuck you're saying.
What I'm saying is, Apple is a United States company that designed and created the product, and then they allowed China to manufacture it for them.
They-
China did not come up with that technology.
they don't have.
That is irrelevant. That is a sunken cost. That is gone out the door.
They haven't. They don't have the innovation.
We don't make coffee.
You're right.
We don't make cigars.
Nope.
We
So-
import lots of things because they're better from Guatemala or wherever we like to get our coffee.
So, is the iPhone better from China than from the U.S.?
No, it's made cheaper. But I think we.
So does that make it better or worse? Or are they indistinguishable?
It isn't cheaper to us because Apple keeps the difference.
You don't know that. If Apple would have made it in Irvine, California, maybe the iPhone would have been $2,000 instead of $1,500.
It may be.
And if we're going to talk about inflation, I would rather the money be staying here if we're going to pay super inflation than pay super inflation and have the money go there.
Well, that's not. He just said it's coming back to us because they depend on us more.
It's not coming
So
back.
the money's coming back.
I think it costs $50 to make an iPhone, and Apple buys them from the manufacturer for $188, sells them to us for $1,000.
Okay, so if we made it at $188 or $200, would the price have been more that way?
I would think if we could get it for $188, they're happy selling it for $1,000 currently.
How much would the cigars have been if they'd have been made in the U.S.? Oh wait, we can't do it because we don't have the soil or the climate.
Right. So, I mean, obviously they would cost quite a bit because we'd have to build a climate building and grow them inside there and do all
So the fact that it's cheaper, does that make it better?
Cheaper
Well-
is not always better.
I agree. I agree with that.
This is
I agree.
drifting
But
into
it
really-
gives the alternative of being better.
But I think we've drifted from the reason that China is different is that they are a vile enemy of the United States, whereas Guatemala or Honduras, who makes our cigars, is not a threat or an enemy per se.
Yeah, I've never really seen a Guatemalan spy balloon flying over the United States.
So
Does that mean it doesn't happen just because you didn't see it?
Yes, that's exactly.
That's exactly what it is. I get it. Just maybe they're really good and you haven't seen it.
Well, they're putting trackers in our cigars now.
I think Congress is just ignoring the fact that they need to be
Well,
at war with China.
we can go down that road. What happened to the price of Cuban cigars from 1962 to 1964?
No, it went through the roof because we couldn't get them.
And because we declared Cuba as an enemy.
Yeah.
Well, would they be? It's like illegal drugs.
Did we stop? I mean, we just started allowing them back in again.
I stopped because it's illegal.
Well, I will tell you, between 1962 and 1964, I did not smoke cigars.
I know I didn't.
I know you didn't, and you didn't.
You were 4.
So, actually, I was 2, but thank you. So, I don't know. There's not an answer.
This is complicated and interesting. It's an interesting subject.
But
I think I'm more right of you, actually. I think we should be crushing their will to live in warfare.
So, see, now all of a sudden I'm the middle road.
You're the middle guy now. I think this is a cop-out. I think we should
it's 100% a cop-out.
we should accept they're at war with us and we should go to war with them.
Yeah,
And this is really actually a weak move.
that I agree with.
And it's a wrong move because they're compromising, like you said, they are compromising. We're just granting permission for the government to affect business.
Here's another side to all of this. Could it be, hey, wow, China's really able to affect our elections. What if we sell this to United States companies so that we can control our own elections?
I think we've sold it already.
Well, I hope somebody has something to add to this. I'm
Yeah,
curious
I
to
would
hear.
love we have created a 4th chair right here. We have a 4th microphone. We are looking for a 4th person that would love to come on and be involved in some of these debates. And I would like a 4th person to come on and explain to Joe how he's wrong. So that's what I'm looking
I would
for.
like one that would explain to Raymond how he is not always correct. See, I won't even use that wrong word because
Because you're too soft.
No.
Yes. That's like the doctor the other day told me I had a heart incident.
Well,
Can't even say the word.
What
attack
was it that
anymore.
George Carlin said? You have to add more syllables.
Yes.
Makes it,
You had a heart occurrence.
yeah.
They've softened up the word pedophile, I heard. Now it's minor attracted person.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Biden. Oh.
He just.
I thought that was the new term for that.
So back. Push the subscribe button, push the bell to get notification. If you have an interest in becoming in this 4th seat on a topic, we would love to have you in any side of the aisle. You could join my side or you could join the wrong side with Joe. Either way you want to look at it and come in and have a discussion.
We will be no tougher.
That's why the chair's on your side, by the way.
Oh, that's why.
That's why our chair side of this is full.
We
Your
will
side's
be-
empty.
we will
Oh, it's
be-
full.
We will be no tougher on you than we are on each other.
Yes, I guarantee that. Here's the other thing. I guarantee that whatever side you take will be a civil conversation.
We
Yes.
will be respectful. Yes.
Yeah, we are not going to badger anybody. We've had a couple of comments that have called us a whole bunch of names. That typically is what the other side likes to do when
It
they
is.
just don't agree.
Well, if you
We
have
on the
basis of arguing,
yeah.
then you.
We on the other side, and it's Charlie Kirk that's always saying when conversation break down is when you start civil wars. So if you are on the other side on any topic, that is fine with me. Come on and talk to us. If you would interested, put a comment in the notes below and our producer will get with you and schedule and you can come on. If you even feel slightly threatened, we can do it remotely.
Yes.
Where you can sit in your own home if you choose not to be here.
Exactly.
But we encourage anybody to come on, take that 4th seat with us, and let's have a conversation. Gentlemen, I want to thank you, and I hope you guys have cause for some thoughts and leave comments, and we'll see you again next time.
All right,